Hi guys, thank you so much for dropping by once again. It's time for another travel vlog today from back in Golden Week. As I recall, this was day 2. So, yeah, where did we go, me from the past with the funny hat?
Day 2 is in Kyoto.
This was my first time in Kyoto since 2005, and looking back on that trip, there was always one place I remembered fondly, and certainly I think of it as one of the most beautiful places in Japan, the Golden Pavilion, or Kinkakuji. Kinkakuji, more properly named Rokuonji, was originally built in 1397 by the 3rd Ashikaga shogun, who left instructions for it to become a Buddhist temple after his death. It has burned down and been rebuilt several times, including after an infamous arson attack in 1950, and today the gold paint is much brighter than in the old days. Surrounding the temple are some very beautiful grounds. Being Golden Week, the temple grounds were super crowded, and I recommend coming at a more tranquil time. Stopping to look up at where one of the 2 Dai characters is lit up by fire during Obon, we headed on to our next destination, which was the Kyoto Gosho. Now we're in the Kyoto Imperial Palace grounds. Kyoto was the capital of Japan between 794 and 1869, and the name simply means capital city or capital metropolis. That said, for much of its history, it was known as Heian-kyo, the capital of tranquility and peace. The Kyoto Gyoen, the garden surrounding the Imperial Palace, is spacious and has a number of picturesque spots, like this one. This is the Kujo Pond, where the residence of a prominent noble family could once be found. Now, along with a branch of the Itsukushima Shrine, we can still see the family's pretty Shusuite tea house. After thoroughly exploring the grounds, we went in through the palace gates. This is where the imperial family lived from the 1170s until the Meiji Restoration around 700 years later. I was very pleased that we could go into the inner courts, since I didn't know they had been open for public access in 2016.
When I was last here, none of this was open unless you got a guided tour to come in and see it.
Though we weren't allowed inside any of the buildings, there was a lot to admire visiting the old palace. Even if some parts, like the Shodaibu Norma here with its beautiful screen paintings, didn't come out so well on film. This building, the Shishinden, is probably the most impressive. The first 2 emperors of the 20th century were enthroned here. Last rebuilt in 1855, these buildings were standing while Kyoto was still the capital. A beautiful place, and just right to bring my parents to on their tour of Kansai. Of course, a palace suitable for royalty needs a garden fit for an emperor too, and I found the garden in the inner palace complex really beautiful. It has the deeply unimaginative name of Oike Niwa, which means honourable pond garden. I feel like they probably could have come up with something a little better than that if they tried. Anyway, satisfied with our visit, it was time for a spot of lunch. What delicate, exquisite repast awaited us in Kyoto? Yeah, we decided to hurry to the next tourist spot, so just grabbed a quick rice bowl. I had mine with unagi. Tasty, but not the prettiest of dishes. So, where did we go next? Well, to a place with a rather lovely view, and to get there we had to contend with the biggest crowds of the holiday. Again, Mum and Dad decided to come during this year's unprecedented 10-day Golden Week, so it was busy, busy, busy. We had come to the Kiyomizudera Buddhist temple complex, one of Kyoto's premier attractions. Founded in 778, the central buildings here are from the 17th century and constructed with only carpentry techniques that use no nails whatsoever. Unfortunately, there was a problem for us beyond just the crowds.
Fortunately, we came to Kiyomizudera when it's all scaffolded up. Not to mention very crowded.
Yes, the scaffolding rather ruined the view. I guess they're doing some renovation ahead of the 2020 Olympics. Shame though. Through the gaps, we could easily see that it is an impressive edifice in a fantastic location. We enjoyed nice long walks through the grounds to the pagoda on the opposite hill, the Koyasu no To. That translates to something like Tower of Child Ease, and is said to bring expectant mothers an easy birth. Very useful. After the tasty katsu meal you saw at the start of the video, we headed to our next destination, another holy place.
Lots of these red tori, lots of fox statues.
It can only be
The Fushimi Inari Shrine.
the Fushimi Inari Taisha is dedicated to the Shinto god Inari, and famous for its mountain trail with many red torii gates. Known as the Senbon Torii, there are roughly 1,000 of them along the 2-hour trail, each one donated over the centuries by worshippers. The torii make for one of the most instantly recognizable images of Kyoto and of Japan in general, so of course we tourists have to film ourselves waddling through.
Very original.
In addition to the torii, there are dozens of shrines on the mountain. A 1985 survey revealed at least 1/3 of all Japan's shrines are dedicated to Inari, a very popular god. Inari is the kami of agriculture, industry, sake, and of course, foxes. Thus, many shrines are protected by guardian fox statues. Mum and Dad had some deeply insightful observations.
We haven't had that dog. It's a fox. Looks like Basil Brush.
It does look like that.
Let's hope we weren't cursed. Mostly I felt lucky though. We saw lots of shrines, we saw these cats.
And we even saw some little frogs.
I must say, as we continued up the mountain and the crowds thinned out, I did begin to feel more and more reverence for the place. People have been coming to this mountain to pray for over 1,000 years. Towards the top is a kind of clearing with a lovely view out over the city. Here we decided we might as well go all the way to the top.
Just one last staircase. Here we are at the summit. Lots of fox shrines up here. Are you happy?
Very happy.
Quite a fun climb.
That's quite good. Yeah.
On the way back down, we stopped to watch the sunset, and our day ended with one more treat. I'll leave you with another deeply insightful comment.
Hey, this place looks pretty cool at night.
They didn't give me a PhD in English for nothing. Okay, that's all for today. See you next time.